Hi
Yeah.
everyone, I am Ashutosh Rai and it's good to see you guys here. We are just going to talk about some of the code qualities and importance of code reviews that is going to impact you moving forward into this journey of software engineering, right? And basically this code review and code quality is going to play a very important role throughout the journey, even when you are whether you are at the starting, you are just starting as a fresher, or whether you have gained some experience, or you are handling a team, right? Because moving forward after spending some years into this industry, your one of your daily job will be to guiding your newcomers, new freshers guys, and handling your teams, and helping them writing a production level code, a code that should be sufficient enough to handle let's say a lot of requests, or able to handle a lot of edge cases, right? And how we are going to write code that is going to that helps us optimizing the performance of our applications, our website, right? So we will just try to talk about all of these things in our today's
Yep.
session.
Yeah. So before going to our regular discussion, let us talk something about you because yeah, you are here. You are someone who is very experienced and you have a lot of knowledge around startups. Like you have been working for from past 3 to 4 years, and you chose startup instead of a very established MNC. So yeah, I will go there afterwards. But before that, like we would love to know more about you. Like how did you come here? I mean, in software.
Yeah, so basically, if we talk about, let's talk about the background, how I landed into this IT sector, and how I was able to get a job in one of the startups. So, as far as you have seen these days, the trend is people has started shifting into the IT sectors, right? And I started my journey. Let's say I did my engineering in from mechanical branch, and basically I did my engineering from LPU, Lovely Professional University, right? after
Okay.
after completing my engineering, I spent some time, I was looking for some job in mechanical stream, and it was a bit tough to get a job, and even if I was able to find one, I was not getting paid enough. So after spending 3 to 4 months after coming out of the college, I was just looking around a better job, better stability, and at that time I came up with this thought that how about trying something into software field, right? And that is I am talking about pre-COVID scenario, right? At that time,
Right.
people were
So so
hardly having enough of awareness to shift their career into the IT industry, right? So at that
right.
time I took a bold decision, right? And I tried gathering some information around how I can enter into IT sector. I started collecting some let's say what are the things that I need to learn, right? How, and then
Right.
I came up with this one stack, right? Basically a web development that we can easily enter into this field after gaining some experience around working knowledge of web development. And I just tried to google around that what is the latest technology that is doing the trend in the market, right? So, and I found out javascript, right? And
Okay.
one more point that I did good was I was not looking for some job in, let's say, one thing that I did not went towards TCS or Infosys,
Right.
because earlier I was just kind of very passionate about my stream, that is mechanical. I was like, I just
Okay.
need to do a field job. I am just made for mechanical. I need to do job in my own sector. But once you do the
Right.
hard work, right, once you spend some good amount of time on the field, and you just find out, okay, neither you are satisfied with your job, nor you are able to get some good salary as well,
Money.
right? So
Right.
that created an option for me, right? And I started exploring this IT field, and that's how I landed onto this IT sector. I spent some time learning all of this technology, and around juggling around 6 to 7 months, I was able to get an internship
Okay.
through one of my friend, right? So through reference I was able to
Okay.
grab a internship, and it was a bit tough. The internship experience was tough because I was new to HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and I did not had any of the previous experience of either some of the, let's say, coding or anything. But people were quite good enough, colleagues were quite helpful, they helped me, they were ready to spend some extra time with me to make me things understand. So I did an internship for 4 months, And at that
Okay.
time basically we were in the middle of COVID, so I got a chance to work from home. And after my internship period got over, they were actually offering me a full-time job, but the salary they offered was bit less, so that's why I was just looking for much salary. Because once I spent 3 to 4 months in the market, I was able to understand that what is the actual value that I should get as a software developer, right? I was able to put a price on my availability, right? So
Correct.
I just neglected their offer with
Yeah.
right.
Correct.
And then I
So you just
started.
get,
Yeah, let me just
you
finish this
just get,
quickly.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, please ask what is the question.
What I was saying was, you once you enter the market, once you work there, even I would say, even for a very less amount of money, but what you get is confidence. Yeah, you can do it. You deserve. If someone can give you, let's say, 15, 20,000, so some other company might be willing to give you maybe more, because now you know you can get something like that.
Yes.
So now you just get that kind of confidence, and I can totally relate with you. I myself came from biotech, and I was so passionate about it. I did a lot of hard work, but yeah.
Yeah. So basically, if I talk about my experience in the very first year of my internship, I was getting paid only around 6,000 a month, right?
Okay.
So that was, if we talk about our current scenario, that 6,000 a month is very less as compared to what we are getting today, right? And after spending some months, I was able to come up with a certain value that okay, this is the range that I should get if I am going to work as a full-time software engineer. So after leaving my internship, right, I spent some time into market. I was applying for the jobs, and around spending 2 3 months looking for the job, I was able to get one job. And it was basically a startup based out of US, right? And they were basically building some smart saunas around, and they needed some developers to create their marketing website, right? And they
Okay.
recently started their office in the Hyderabad, basically in
Okay.
2021. So I was able to
Okay.
crack that interview. And yes, I knew I was not, I was having just little bit of knowledge only, but I was high on confidence, right? Because generally
Yeah.
if you find people some other domain, they generally do have one confidence that okay, they can do the things, right, if opportunity is
Right.
given to them. So I was just
Correct.
seeking for the opportunities, and I was able to grab them. And then I started with my first year. I did a lot of new things for initial 6 months. We built a website from scratch and deployed it into the production, where thousands of users were visiting every day, right? And things, and we used to do hot fixes, means if something is failing in your production, you need to fix it quickly, right? So it was good experience. First year it was really good experience that I was able to do things from the scratch and fix it on the go. And then I gained some experience, and then I started looking out for the better opportunities. And next year I landed into in one of the different startup in that is in Bangalore right now, and there I'm working from around 2 years. So it's been good, journey is being good, and coming from mechanical and just gaining some experience, and now able to talk about these stuffs, that gives a much better feeling these days.
Have you ever been through that self-doubt coming from a different background? Because I had my own journey. I had a lot of self-doubts. So, like, how did you, like, did you also went through the same things, or, like, how did you come up,
Yeah,
like you
so
said?
basically what I did, the good thing that I planned was, when I took this decision that I want to be a software engineer, right? So basically
Right.
that decision was totally mine. No one forced me that decision, neither my parents, my family, or my colleagues. So that decision was totally fine, and that was the basically, if I talk around our group, age group, that is from let's say 18 to 25, basically hardly we take any decision by ourselves till the time we reach into the college, right?
Right.
So if I recall myself, that was the very first decision I took for myself. And I decided, the day I took that decision, I decided that I am going to be a software engineer, and I see myself working for this particular company after certain period of time, right? So after taking this decision, things got really easy for me, right? Because now I just need to cover the journey. I need to spend enough time. I need to learn enough of the skills so that I get up to that level, right? So and yes, it was a bit frustrating, right? Yes, and uh, When the
Yeah, Ashutosh, we lost you in the middle.
yeah. So basically what I was saying is, yes, once I took the decision, and I marked my goal that this is where I want to be next 1 year. And then I started the preparation, right? And yes, the
Correct.
preparation is basically a longer journey, and it needs a lot of regular consistency and regular effort. So I lost a bit in between, but I used to take some break in between 1 and 2 days. I used to take some break, and then I used to again go and start from scratch. So that's how it helped me. It helped me, right, to get my mind focused on this particular direction, and what I need to do, so that after 1 year of time I
Right.
should be at particular position. So
Right. So
yeah.
what used to happen with me is I used to think I feel like this is the like best way to do that. You have to win twice. First in your brain, yes, you can do that. If you convince your brain, yes, you can do that, I guarantee you, no one in the world can stop you. So the first win is in your brain. Second is interview, obviously. But the first and the very important thing, how do you deal with your negative self doubts? Everyone goes through it. I also went through it. Even I go through it now. Like once we join any company, like I, you see different people who are tech leads and who can solve everything very easily, and they have a wide knowledge. So even then, there are a lot of self doubt, and it's very common in software, right? Self
Yes.
doubt. So how do you come, like how did you overcome it?
So the basically one thing is about, basically we are in software industry, right? So we need to continuously upgrade ourselves, right? Keep up
Yeah.
with the latest trend into the market, whatever we are getting. And generally we do have our aim is, let's say if we are working in one particular company, right? Let's say if today I'm working in a service based company, so my aim is to crack interviews for the any of the product based company, right? So that I can get more exposure, right? And until and
Mm-hmm.
unless I get a exposure to certain things, how I will judge myself that okay, I can survive these things and I can come out of it after learning all of the challenges, right? So,
Right.
so basically, what I do, I just put myself in a uncomfortable situation. Let's say if I do not have any of the idea. Whenever I need to learn something new, I just try to Google out stuffs and start implementing the code, right? And we know that
Right.
whenever we are trying to implement something new, we will be getting stuck a lot of time. We will be facing challenges, and once I get stuck, then I start looking for solution. I try to take some help from chat gpt, stack overflow, right, or mdn docs. So these are the some of the ways to reach out when we are learning something new. And we do have a lot of open source communities. These guys are there to help. And one community is this code review that where we are currently talking about, right?
Right.
So basically I really like this platform, so that because we there are upcoming guys, right? We do have a fresher people or people who are looking for the changes, right? So they hardly have some information about code reviews, right? So there are very few companies who put a heavy focus on implementing code with a particular standard, right?
Correct.
So this is one problem that we generally face in, even let's say fast paced startups. They hardly, because they focus on the quality, right, the delivery of the
Right.
task. They do
Right.
not have enough time to spend some time to let's say talk about qualities, do some good code review or follow some good practices, right? Because we
Correct.
do have a time constraint there. And even
Correct.
if we talk
Correct.
about right, we do if you talk about mncs, we do not have that much of a strict process of code review, right? So in
Mm-hmm.
that case I followed this, basically this code review is I followed this bit good, right? Basically we are
Yeah.
getting a chance to get our code reviews in a right, one to one code review is bit good. So
Right. And how do you like? How what changes did you see like when you started and 3 years down the lane? How did your code writing quality and what helped you to improve your code quality?
yeah,
And do you see
so
any improvement like starting when you were starting and now after 3 years? Like
yeah.
how does it feel?
Yeah, so in starting, basically, I hardly had idea about code quality, because when we start, let's say total noob, right? When we start from zero, start from scratch, our first thought is, let's say, to build a project, right? We
Right.
declare ourselves as a software engineer once we are able to build some basic project, right? And once we are able to solve the some of the company tasks that we get during the interview part, right? So at
Right.
that time we generally, let's say, if I am a fresher guy and I am able to implement some project by myself, I just say myself that okay, I am ready as a software developer, right? But the thing is, once we go into the company, once we start working for an organization, we stuck in the very first task. And the problem is, even we are able to develop that feature, we get to know something new, that is about the code quality, right? That is, we need to follow a certain standard, right? So basically this experience we get during the professional journey only, and that time we get introduced to this code quality, where we get the idea that okay, whatever the feature we have implemented, that will get thorough reviewed by our seniors, right? You guys might have seen that we raise a first PR into the, we go into company, solve our first task, raise our first PR, and we get around 50 to 60s of comments, right? And basically, if I remember, if I recall my experience in the very first task that I implemented, I got around 20 of comments, right? And
Okay.
20
Right.
of comments, and basically the total number of line that I put was around 40 to 50 only. So you can think around how bad I was in writing the quality stuff, right? But it's just my senior was good enough to guide me on that. He provided a proper detailed feedback that that, let's say, if we talk about nested if else condition, right? So at only that particular time I got a hint that okay, we can try to write off switch cases instead of if else condition, nested if else condition, right? Something like
Right.
this. It was a totally new for me, right? Because earlier I just used to think about implementing a particular feature that I am going to get as a task in company, and now I need to think about how I can write a quality code, how I can write a better code, right? That is going to pass all of the test cases, and so that my PR get most without much comment, right? So in the very first company, this was my experience. So but it's just the senior people were good enough to guide me on that. And basically this code quality improves with the experience only. We do not have let's say cheat sheet code for cracking or getting some knowledge around code quality. It takes some time, and it will develop over the period of time, right? So
Right.
and then moving forward, let's say once you spend some time around 1 to 2 year or 3 year, you get a better idea that how you should approach with your thought process, how we can replace a one piece of code with a better quality, right? What are the better ways of you can handle multiple edge cases?
Right.
So that comes with the experience only.
Right. Yeah, and if you have someone to help you out in the beginning, like to guide you, maybe a mentor or something, so I guess that makes the road easier.
Yes, and I think that's what these code review guys are doing. Basically, they are providing this option to getting your project or code reviewed by industry expert, right? People who have gone through the same situations, and they have come up with this good approach that they can provide a solid feedback how you can write a better code, right?
We have a very good question over here by Irshad, and I also get it a lot. Okay, like, how is AI going to affect us? Like, do you have any views around it?
Asking about chat gpt, is there any effects for react.js developer or any reduce in the job? So basically it's that is not going to create a problem for reducing of the job, because chat gpt is going to do only that things what you are going to ask with the chat gpt, right? And even let's say if you are asking for some coding solution or coding help, you are not going to get 100% of correct answer every time, right? So basically it is a machine that is being trained by the people only, right? So the human error is always going to be there. Just like as a human we tend to commit mistakes, right? So there is always some limits, right? What are the up to certain extent only chat gpt can help you out, right? So it is going to help us, let's say developer community, right, to improve their productivity. what used to happen earlier, let's say if I share my experience when I was new and I used to get stuck at some challenges, so I used to raise a question, put a question on Stack Overflow, and I used to wait for 2 days, 3 days, sometimes a week as well, to get some reply from other guys, right? And who are working on the same topics and who might have faced the similar problem. So we used to wait for a good amount of time, and then we used to get some solution, and we used to implement that in our code. And sometimes it used to work, sometimes it do not used to work, right? So that used to stretch right, our time bound, right? And that used to affect on the quality of the delivery, right? So basically chat gpt is really quick to provide us valuable feedback, right? If you are getting stuck at some point, right, you can directly talk to chat gpt, and you will get much helpful answer, and you do not need to wait for the much time, right? So basically in that terms chat gpt is quite useful, but to use that you need to have some idea around that how you are going to ask questions, and how you can get best help from chat gpt as well. So for that you need to have knowledge about all of this working of technology, right? That is so it is just kind of going to add as a improving the productivity of a developer. It's not like it can take a job of a developer, right? It cannot replace a developer, it is for there to improve your productivity. Earlier, let's say earlier, if you used to take 2 or 3 days of time to develop one particular feature, now you can easily do in a one day with the help of chat gpt. So that is how it is going to help. And basically these machines are going to there to improve the productivity of humans. Basically the problem is we as a humans, we do not have any of the outside competitors, right? If we talk about in simple terms, if we talk in terms of competitor as a humans, we have other humans only, right? So generally we tend to be bit lazy, right? But nowadays machines are there, and we know if we get bit lazy, machines will take over, right? So with basically with these fears, people are going to work in a much better way and with much better approach. So this is going to help us in increasing our speed and productivity at all, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think we are the last generation who used Stack Overflow. I remember I used to mail people from Stack Overflow, like who were active over there, to have my doubts sorted. Now it only takes a couple of prompts.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
basically, if I add few more points in this, basically we are going to be the last generation who used to write HTML and CSS by from scratch, right? So
Yeah, might be.
upcoming generations will laugh at us that okay, this is the same person who used to develop website from scratch. HTML, CSS is spending months of time to write HTML, CSS, JavaScript, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be possible. Like if we think in a long term. Yep.
Yes.
So yeah.
So I have a query in mind that everything I learn about Scratch. So if there is if industry are need Scratch code, or even there is any framework or library, is there need a Scratch code in
Yes,
industry?
yes, got your point, Shaktidhar. So basically, the problem is if you have the idea or concept that how you can build something from scratch, right? If you have that basic building blocks, right, and you have the concept around that, you can easily take some help. You can use some libraries or framework to develop that, right? But if let's think around, you have to develop a landing page, right? Where when user tries to go and log in, right? Let's say you have to just develop a login page, and you do not have any idea that how you can write, let's say write some HTML code for the forms. What are the type of validations you can write, right? And how you can handle those proper forms from the front end, and how you are going to send whatever the data that user is going to enter, how you can send that to the backend APIs. So if you do not have basic knowledge around that, then it will be very tough for you to work with the, let's say, if we talk about some libraries or frameworks, let's say if you right, let's say you can try to use some of the CSS framework, right, to write the provide the styling, right? So that is going to help you in a much better way if you have some knowledge from building that thing from scratch, right? If you have knowledge, then that is fine. You can easily, you will get understanding that okay, let's use this framework or this library. That is going to reduce your building time, right? Going to reduce your total time to come up with a working solution. So it's good to have knowledge around building things from scratch. And once you have that knowledge, it's not important that you are going to build everything from scratch every time. You can just take help from libraries and framework, right?
Yes, yes, right.
Yeah. So
And in the industry
thank you,
also, we are
Shaktidhar.
not
Thank
going
you
to
for
work
asking
on a
this question.
project
Yeah.
from scratch. We have a pre-written code, and in that maybe we have to add few features, we have to optimize few things. So yeah, that is how it works over there. But at any point of time, you should be able to make a full stack. Like you should be able to make a project from scratch without anyone's help.
Yes. Let's take an example. If you got a job in a company and you have idea about building things from scratch, right? So basically for the first few months you will get a task to fix bugs, right? That are already existing bugs in the application, right? So you can only fix bugs. You have idea around things that how they basically work, right? So only if you have proper idea and knowledge about building things from scratch and whole working knowledge, only then it will be really easy for you to fix the bugs. But if you do not have proper knowledge that how things works, right, then it will be bit tough for you. So that's why things, if you have some idea of building things from scratch, that is going to help you a lot, and you will be able to grasp advanced concept much easily,
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
right.
fine.
right? Let's say if you take an example, let's say these days React JS is bit famous, so people generally spend some time on HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and they skip a lot of important concept in JavaScript and they start with the React JS, right? So during the development part they get stuck and they hardly have any idea that how they can come up with a solution, right? So that's why it is important to develop some thinking and knowledge around working with the basic things, and then you can work with the advanced stuff.
Okay. Thank you, Shakti. Thank you, Shakti, for asking the question. So what last message would you like to give us, like to people who are just starting off or who are just starting to start off in the industry?
So basically, one thing that I would like to add is that do not get right. Do not get distracted from on. You might have seen on LinkedIn people just add a lot of stuff these days, right? People just show a lot of things, and out of those things are basically they just highlight things, right? It's basically people in the industry, they do have the actual idea what is going behind, right? So let's say if someone is suggesting you that do not prepare for the IT sector or do not try to look for the better opportunities because market is bit freeze, so that is fine, but it just keep your preparation, right? And and keep looking for the opportunities, right? And do not just get stuck in between. Let's say I just need to crack Google or let's crack Facebook because only these top tier companies are good companies, right? So these days you will find n number of companies, they really pay a handsome salary. And basically second thing, you need basically two things. One is a good salary, and second thing is a good work environment. So out of 100 companies, 90 companies are going to have a good working environment, right? 10% of scenarios that you can always count as a, let's say there might be a situation that out of 110 might be having some politics or let's say bad environment there, right? That we are always going to count, right? So just start with the next step. It's not like let's say I am just starting today and I just start thinking about Google, right? We just need to break things in chunks, right? Software industry is really good if you are able to break things into chunks, right? Because you will be getting a bigger problem picture, and if you are able to break things into chunks, you will be easily able to solve one step, and then you can move towards the next step, right? So always plan for the next step. That okay, let's say if you have started with the service based company, generally our approach is to let's target a product based company, get some exposure, and then you can easily target a big companies, right? One approach is this, we go step by step, right? And this is bit easy approach that I have found according to my experience, right? But also I have seen people, they have spent good amount of time in service based company, right? If I take some example of my friends, I have seen them working for 3 to 4 years in, let's say, good MNC company, that is TCS, Cognizant, and in 3 4 years they did enough of hard work, they learned all of these things, data structure, system design, web development, right? They were able to develop good concept around that, they were able to develop good project, and they directly cracked Google, Facebook, Microsoft, right? So you there are two ways, right? These two ways work for everyone, but it's always go to the person to person, right? So you will find 80 people, right? 80 people can easily switch from service based to the product based, and they can target the next set of companies, right? There will be 20 extraordinary people, they where they will just choose this longer run, right? So they will spend 3 to 4 year or even 2 year of time, regular hard working, right? And they will directly go to the Google, Microsoft, right? So both of the ways are correct, but it just we just need to find our strength, right? That at what things we are really good at. You will find some people who are not that much of good with the DSA part, right? So for that, again, you just need to focus on improving your web development part, right? And you can start with any of the startup moving forward, right? And with certain experience, you will be able to develop things, and then you can go to these top tier companies, right? But the one thing is for sure, you will get good salary in any of the let's say startup environment these days. It's not like you are just going to get only a little amount of salary, because everywhere environment is competitive, right? Companies, these those companies do know that if they are not going to take care of their employees do have a lot of options available into market, right? It's not like we are living in early 20s, right, where people used to fear that what will happen if I lose my job, right? And that time people used to take care of lot of their seniors, right? And they used to do a lot of stuffs to impress their managers and other co-working people, right? But these days things hierarchy is generally startup follows a flat hierarchy, right? So you can reach out to either your CEO, CTO, managers anytime. It's not so, because the number of people are bit less, so everyone has idea that which particular person is doing what, right? So at that particular time, now environment is a bit open and things are open, so it's so that's why we are able to develop good environment amongst the most of the startups.
Yeah, Ashutosh, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge, and
Yeah.
thank you for taking your time out and coming here. So yeah. So guys, thank you so much everyone for joining. I'll just take a quick picture. I just forgot last time. So last time was our first community meetup, and this is our second.
Yeah.
And I didn't thought we will get this much of traction, this much of positive feedbacks. But yeah, thanks to every one of you for giving us feedbacks. And I will really appreciate like if you guys give us feedbacks, like what are the areas like you are lagging behind, so that we have a better understanding. Okay, these are the things people who are either in industry like either 1 year or 2 years, or people who are trying to enter in this industry are facing. So yeah, we can figure out something around it.